Hello, curious travelers and lovers of the unknown. Get ready for a fascinating journey to the most remote and inaccessible corners of our planet. Today, we will explore the hardest places to reach in the world, uncovering their secrets, curiosities, and challenges. Fasten your seatbelts, because this journey promises to be a roller coaster of emotions and discoveries. Our first destination takes us to the depths of the Pacific Ocean, specifically to Point Nemo. Have you ever heard of this mysterious place? Also known as the oceanic pole of inaccessibility, it is the most remote point in the oceans, equidistant from any landmass. Imagine yourself floating in the middle of nowhere, with the nearest land point 2,688 kilometers away. To get there, you would need a specialized vessel and weeks of travel. But why would anyone want to visit such an isolated place? Well, Point Nemo holds fascinating secrets. Did you know it's the location chosen by space agencies for the spacecraft cemetery? That's right. When satellites and space stations reach the end of their life, they are directed to fall in this remote ocean region. Who knows what technological treasures lie in the depths of this mysterious point? Now, let's ascend a little more. Our next destination is the top of the world, Mount Everest. Standing at an imposing 8,848 meters above sea level, Everest is the highest point on Earth. But don't be mistaken, reaching its summit is not a task for everyone. Only about 5,000 people have achieved this feat since New Zealander Edmund Hillary and Nepalese Sherpa Tenzing Norgay were the first to reach the top in 1953. The journey to the summit is full of dangers, temperatures that can drop to -60 degrees Celsius, winds of up to 200 kilometers per hour, and the thin air that makes each breath a challenge. Interestingly, Everest grows about 4 millimeters per year due to tectonic plate movement. Will it become even harder to climb one day? Leaving the heights, we now dive into the depths of the Earth. Our destination? The Sun Dune Cave in Vietnam. Discovered only in 1991 by a local farmer, this gigantic cave remained a secret until 2009, when it was explored for the first time. Over 5 kilometers in length and heights reaching to 100 meters, Sun Dune is large enough to house a New York skyscraper. But getting there is not easy. The cave is located in the middle of a dense forest, and access is strictly limited to preserve its unique ecosystem. Only 1,000 visitors are allowed per year, and the waiting list can stretch for years. Inside the cave, a surreal world awaits: underground forests, crystal-clear rivers, and rock formations millions of years old. Who knows what other wonders are still hidden in the Earth's depths? Let's now move to a place that challenges not only accessibility, but also our understanding of the world. Area 51, in the United States. Officially, the U.S. government acknowledges its existence as an Air Force testing facility. But what really happens behind those heavily guarded gates? Rumors of experiments with alien technology and encounters with extraterrestrial beings have fueled popular imagination for decades. Getting close to Area 51 is virtually impossible for civilians. Security cameras, motion sensors, and armed patrols ensure that secrets remain well guarded. Will we ever know the truth about what lies hidden in this desert spot? Now, get ready for a trip to the past. Our next destination is North Sentinel Island, located in the Indian Ocean. This small island, part of the Andaman Archipelago, is inhabited by the Sentinelese, one of the most isolated peoples on the planet. It is estimated that between 50 and 400 people live on the island, but the exact number is unknown. What makes this place so inaccessible are not natural barriers, but the fierce determination of its inhabitants to remain isolated. The Sentinelese reject any contact with the outside world, greeting intruders with arrows and spears. The Indian government has banned any approach to the island to protect both visitors and the natives from diseases for which they have no immunity. The mystery surrounding this society is fascinating. What language do they speak? What are their beliefs? How did they survive the 2004 tsunami? These are questions that may never be answered. Continuing our journey through the inhospitable, we arrive at Death Valley in the United States. But it's not just the heat that makes this place challenging. Death Valley is one of the driest places on the planet, with an average annual rainfall of only 5 centimeters. The arid landscape and extreme conditions make this one of the most hostile environments for human life. However, surprisingly, Death Valley is home to a unique biodiversity adapted to these extreme conditions. Flowers that bloom quickly after the rare rains and fish that survive in salty puddles are some of the miracles of nature that we can find here. Does Death Valley hold more secrets about life's resilience? Now, let's jump to the other side of the world and dive into the depths of the Amazon jungle. Our destination is the Javari Valley, on the border between Brazil and Peru. This region is known as one of the last unexplored frontiers on the planet and home to various isolated indigenous tribes. Access to this area is extremely restricted, protected by international laws and the impenetrable nature of the forest itself. Treacherous rivers, dangerous animals, and tropical diseases are just some of the obstacles for those who dare venture into these lands. It is believed that at least 14 indigenous groups live in voluntary isolation in this region, possibly the last peoples on the planet who have no contact with the modern world. What ancestral knowledge do they preserve? What secrets of the forest do they guard? The Javari Valley remains one of humanity's last great mysteries. Leaving the tropical heat, we now venture into the icy lands of Antarctica. More specifically, let's talk about the Pole of Inaccessibility. This point is defined as the location on the Antarctic continent farthest from the coast of the Southern Ocean. It is considered the most remote and inaccessible place on Earth. The conditions to reach it are extreme. Temperatures can drop to -80 degrees Celsius, constant winds blow, and the altitude is over 3,700 meters above sea level. Only a handful of expeditions have managed to reach this point since its discovery in 1958. Interestingly, at the Pole of Inaccessibility, there is a statue of Lenin left by a Soviet expedition in 1958. Just imagine, in the most isolated place on the planet, a symbol of the Soviet era stands silently witnessing the passage of time. What else could be hidden beneath the eternal layers of Antarctic ice? Our next stop takes us to the heart of Central Asia, specifically to the Tibetan Plateau. Known as the roof of the world, this plateau has an average altitude of 4,500 meters above sea level. What makes this place so challenging is not just its altitude, but also its geographical and political isolation. Tibet, an autonomous region of China, has restricted access to foreigners, and even for the few who manage to get permission, the journey is arduous. Altitude sickness is a constant challenge, with the thin air making every movement an effort. But the secrets Tibet holds are fascinating. Ancient monasteries hide millennia-old knowledge, and legends speak of mystical creatures like the Yeti inhabiting the snowy mountains. Tibet is also known as Asia's water tower, as it is the source of several of the continent's major rivers. What other secrets does this isolated plateau still hide from the world? Finally, our journey takes us to one of the most enigmatic and dangerous places on the planet, Gruinard Island, Scotland. At first glance, this small island of only 2 square kilometers may seem like an isolated paradise. But its dark history has turned it into one of the most feared places in the world. During World War II, the British government used Gruinard as a testing ground for biological weapons, specifically anthrax. The experiments were so intense that the island was contaminated and declared a prohibited zone for nearly 50 years. Only in 1990, after extensive decontamination efforts, was the island declared safe. However, fear and mistrust persist. Few dare to visit Gruinard, and rumors of residual contamination still circulate. Has nature really recovered from this dark chapter of human history? What secrets does this small island still hold about the horrors of war and the resilience of life? We have reached the end of our journey through the hardest places to reach in the world. From the highest peaks to the darkest depths, from the most isolated islands to the driest deserts, our planet is full of mysteries and challenges. Each of these places reminds us of the vastness and diversity of our world, as well as the limits of human exploration. But remember, the true adventure lies not just in reaching these remote places, but in understanding and respecting the delicate balances that make them unique. Many of these locations are protected for good reasons, whether to preserve fragile ecosystems, protect isolated cultures, or guard secrets that we may not be ready to uncover. And you, dear viewer, which of these places piqued your curiosity the most? Which mystery would you like to unravel? Remember, exploration begins with curiosity and respect for the unknown. If you were fascinated by this journey to the most remote corners of our planet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We have many other mysteries to explore together, many other frontiers to cross, even if only with our imagination. Until the next adventure!